I have two good news. The first one is actually I did get new glasses this time, adapted to my view, so I'm actually wearing them every single day. I absolutely love these glasses. And the second good news is I found a job. This is still not a permanent position, unfortunately, but it's like for the next 7 months. And, you know, as I've been sharing more of my life and just like overall talking corporate, I think it's important to mention that. And I'm really happy because I just feel like, you know, first of all, it takes off the mental charge. Like, you just, off your shoulders, you really don't feel bad about it because you know that you're going to be able to pay for most of the needs, most of the bills and whatever. And just still like being involved in something compared to not working for a month and being unemployed, it still kind of feels good. Let's see how it feels in a month from now, but it's been 3 weeks and I'm still overall satisfied. And as I promised today, I'm going to be talking about Severance because this is such a great show. If you have not watched it yet, please go watch it. I'm not going to be spoiling it for you, so no worries. It's on Apple TV, by the way. But I am going to be talking about the concept. So if you're somebody who loves to be like completely surprised and not know anything beforehand, you just, I don't know, maybe just skip this part. The concept of the show is the following. There's this big corporation in, of course, the United States of America that decided, called Lumen, I also really like the name, that decided that they're gonna split the consciousness of people, of their employees, basically. So there's one part of you that only gets to live outside of your workplace, like see your family, go on holidays, and the other part only gets to live in the office. Except that you do not remember, like if you're the outside part, you don't remember anything about the inside part. It's still the same body, but like once you enter the elevator that they use at your workplace, there's some kind of switch that happens in you. And you know what, first of all, it's problematic from a psychological point of view. You could have said like, oh, you know what, actually, it might have been nice not to remember anything that I do at work. Just completely forget it and ignore this part of me. But the psychology of human beings is completely different. It doesn't work that way. Even if something traumatic or stressful happens to you and your brain doesn't remember about it, you're still gonna feel it in your body. You're still gonna feel anxious. You're still gonna be having a hard time sleeping, all of those things. So doesn't work. And obviously turns out later in the show that why did Lumen want to do it in the first place? To exploit people, to experiment on people. Because also what's really funny is that the job they do is completely meaningless. Like they use very old computers like from the 90s and they're just supposed to click on them to like pick up random numbers that make them feel a certain type of way. It really doesn't make sense. But it's so funny because it really, it reminded me of many jobs actually that I had, but there was this one particularly. It had absolutely no meaning at all. I was like head of production of something. What I was doing had nothing to do with being head of production. And I remember my boss would tell me to like do random tasks, which I was more than happy to complete, and then never use this information. So it was just like, you know, to keep you busy, like go do something. Obviously, I quickly realized that I just stopped working alone. I was doing my thing separately, but it's just, it is really such a good allegory of corporate world and what it does to you and how it affects you mentally and how draining it is and how much time you spend there without it being like anyhow meaningful to you, anyhow interesting. Most of the jobs are this way. Like you're not going to be able to convince me. I worked enough. I know what it is. It makes no sense. If you feel anxious watching Severance, it's because in the past you experience the same, because I feel so anxious. Like it's still very funny, it's presented in a funny way, but at the same time I feel anxious like because the whole setting, well, first of all, is that the idea on its own is just like so uncanny, and even the whole setting and even just seeing them go through the same things, suffer daily, and having to go back to work because basically that's the only source of revenue that they have and they don't have a choice. Once again, real life. And obviously they also go through a lot of gaslighting, manipulation, as it is always with work people, with work managers. Managers are always the worst. Like I've had so many bad managers, people who were not professional, people who were not qualified enough. And on top of that, people who were just like literally bad people. And I was a manager myself. I think I was one of the chillest managers. Like I just don't care, bitch. You get those 5 tasks done and then go do whatever. So I don't understand at what point in somebody's life do you develop those traits of personality where you enjoy making others suffer. And it's also, you know, it's funny, it's the language people use at work that they wouldn't talk in the same type of way in real life. It's very specific words, very specific phrases. It just looks like they're trying to make everything confusing. Like it's already confusing enough. Karen, We know more of it, but for some reason you're taking pleasure. I feel like it's just like, maybe very insecure people who are frustrated with their life. Boomers. Not my thing. Don't want them at work. Please don't be like that. Don't be boomer. In my personal experience, honestly, I work quite a lot. I hate corporate. I hate every single thing about it. There are very few things that I might say like, oh, they're more or less good. Maybe free coffee, and still most of the time the coffee sucks. And you know what's funny? It's also sometimes you hate the job in itself. And maybe your colleagues are like fine and you get along. Sometimes it's the colleagues who are not really great people, but then the job is okay. Sometimes it's a commotion. Sometimes you have to spend so much time in public transport. That was my last job. It would take me like an hour 10 to get there. So basically 3 hours or a little less. But like I calculated, it was like 6 hours every single week that I would just spend on the subway with people around me. Also, subway is just not safe at all. Like I've been thinking about it the other day. It's so packed. There's literally no security. Anybody could bring anything. I don't even want to think about it. But yeah, every single time something sucks. Like I never had one single experience what I would say, here I feel great, I feel complete, like what I do is really interesting and I'm learning a lot. And honestly, I do not think this will ever happen. No, let me rephrase it. This will never happen to me. This is just the type of personality that I am. By the way, I don't want to make you feel bad if you really enjoy your job and if you like what you're doing. But I'm just saying, if you work in logistics and you're trying to tell me that you're passionate about logistics, I think you're kind of lying, first of all, to yourself. Because there's nothing passionate about logistics. You can still say, hey, it just feels good to accomplish things during the day and then leave. Logistics are not passionate. I'm not working in logistics. I'm just a random example, but that's not. This lifestyle to me, honestly, it's literally slavery. Okay, let's say that these days people get to work from home a little bit more, which should be an option for absolutely every single person who doesn't need to be there. Like most of the time, logistics, customer service, marketing, operations, you don't even need to go to the office. Maybe occasionally because there's some type of event, or I don't know, maybe just you get along you get well along. No, never mind. You get along with your colleagues and then you just want to see them. That's also understandable. But that's pretty much it. So that's why I call it modern day slavery. Like they steal so much of your time. You have to spend your days surrounded by people who are not your friends, who are not your family. It's just, I think it's just a very unnatural thing for like human bodies and human minds to do a thing like that. And to them also to push, like very actively push this narrative onto you that, we're all friends, we're all family. Well, I don't talk to my cousin, so you probably on that level of my family. Oh, that's also, I wanna introduce you to Smisky. It's not mine, but it's really cute, and probably should be my thumbnail or something because that's really nice. And what hurts me personally the most about all of this is I feel like people at your workplace, they all end up being complacent to this kind of lifestyle and this kind of attitude. Like I can, maybe I'm just too loud, maybe I'm just too authentic to myself, but it's really hard for me to pretend for more than a certain amount of time. Then I just physically can't because it drains me, and I'm already drained by this whole corporate world. So I really don't understand. Is it because people really like what they're doing, so they like, yeah, we're good, we're okay? Or is it because people are really good at pretending? Like either or. I think both are really bad and harmful. Like I really wish more interactions at work would be just as simple as talking to somebody like, hey, let me message you, something's off, like I don't understand this or that topic. Like there's no need to make it sound very official, to make it sound way too professional. It could be just a distant human conversation. It's actually the same with like, people who work in service, like let's say hospitality. They always talk like in a very natural way, and honestly it is just so irritating to me. Like they train them to be, once again, slaves. And why I'm talking about it, because I was in the same position. I worked for several luxury brands, and that's how they train you. They train you to smile all the time. They train you to talk in a certain type of way. But like, can't people feel that that's just weird and that's completely unnatural? Like, what's the point of those unnatural human interactions? I really don't understand that. That's also why like it's always so hard for me to find friends at work. And also, you know, when I'm talking about this, I'm not like mentioning my current job or even my previous job, but it's really like a recollection of most of the jobs that I had, because most of them sucked. That's just how it is. So I don't want to make it sound like, you know, my current job is horrible or the job that I had before. No, it's really a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Bam, corporate world, horrible. If that's like one suggestion that I can really give you, because I know that a lot of people still have to go to work. Not everybody has an option to just like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna stop working and I'm gonna create my own business. Obviously, building your own business is the best idea I have for you. I understand that it's not realistic for everybody, but if you have your own project, something that you're passionate about, something that you feel like you can push, you don't need to become like a billionaire. You can just make a decent amount of money every year, or even go freelance. Honestly, do it, because a lot of people are intimidated by CEOs, entrepreneurs, businessmen, businesswomen, because they feel like they are different. They are more, I don't know, gifted. They were born different. I could never do that. Well, you know what? The like founder of the company that I'm working for right now, he is very chill. He is very simple. I don't even think he comes from money. I think he just really was passionate, and he didn't even had like one specific idea about what he wanted to do. He knew the kind of environment. I have to finish on my phone because my motherfucking camera decided that there was no memory available on my card, even though that's a lie. But yeah, if you can be a business owner, if you can push your own project, you just need to be disciplined. You just need to be passionate about something. You need to be disciplined. You need to be really well organized, and you need to be curious in life, because there's so many things you're gonna have to learn. You should be ready for that, and you should embrace it. That's why I'm saying, I know it's not for everybody, but it's just still very good advice. Second advice is, if you can work remotely, please do it. This is the best option. I know that still not many companies offer this, but if you could find something like this, because you're still gonna have more time to yourself. You're still gonna spend more time with your family rather than with your colleagues. You can work from home. You can work from your sister's home. You can actually go to vacation and just not tell them. That's what I would do. And just, you know, mentally like clock out all of that. Don't care about it. Just check yourself completely out. Do the necessary. Be polite. Don't be overly polite. Don't participate in any kind of gossip or weird things going on. It's just you. It's just your work. Make sure you answer all your mails. Make sure you're nice to your manager. It should be fine. But I know that's also, I'm in a good mood today, so it's fine. But overall, corporate world is such a depressing place. It is really not okay to see how many people are suffering, and more people talk about it, especially young people. And I hate when, you know, this subject of Gen Z are not made for work. Gen Z are so lazy. Well, absolutely not. Gen Z just know the boundaries. They know what they want, and they are not supposed to suffer like boomers or maybe like older Gen X were. So I don't see a problem. I think people should really stand for themselves and say, hey, you know what? I'm fucking done with that. I want to live my life. I want to be happy. And there's so much money in the world, and you're working for what, like 2K, 3K, 4K every single month. That's nearly not enough. So take care of yourselves. And please, like, remember that your job is not the center of your world. They are literally gonna eventually end up firing you, or maybe you're gonna leave but on your own. So get yourself a nice community outside of work. Get yourself good quality friends. Spend quality time with them. Travel. Get yourself some hobbies. So if one day, for whatever reason, you end up unemployed or just not working, you're still gonna have a decent amount of things in life to rely on, because your job is not supposed to be a personality. So I don't know what I'm going to talk about next time, because it's fun to talk about corporate, but at the same time, it's just so depressing. So, okay, guys, we'll see. I'm going to go eat my bowl bun right now. I don't have time for you anymore. Bye.